Guys, today we're talking about the box office here, and there is a lot of new things here, and three new movies released, and we don't know. We'll get to know how well they are doing it here. So, yep, this is the new box office results here, and the number one movie of the week is Encanto. This movie isn't really doing too well at the box office. I just think people don't like Disney anymore. I think Disney is losing popularity, and people are like, oh, people just don't like Latin America because people are racist. Well, the movie Coco did really well. Did far better than this movie did. Okay, this movie did far. This Coco, if you want to compare it to Coco, was also released on the same weekend. Unironically, it released on the same weekend. Okay, this movie did far worse than Coco. If you want to compare it to Coco, it did far worse than Coco, which is the most funniest thing in the world. Okay, so it is not because of racism this movie did horribly. Okay, like some people are going to say it did, and say that's the sole reason this movie flopped. That's the sole reason Encanto flopped. Okay, we can compare it to Disney's other movie, Coco. Okay, once again, it is Pixar, but Pixar is still owned by Disney. Okay, this movie is doing significantly worse than Coco. Significantly worse than Coco. Okay, 40 million versus 72 million. So this movie is gonna do far worse than Coco, and Coco made $210 million domestically and 700 million, nearly $800 million worldwide. So Coco is doing better than doing far better than the Encanto, and I do, and don't have. And I think on the here they have the that goes 69 million worldwide. So international audiences don't care for Encanto either. I think people are trying to wake up against Disney. This movie only has a $120 million budget, so this movie still should make back its money. But the fact that the movie is underperforming alone, like the Eternals as well, the Eternals is underperforming even. It's not. It's just as bad as the box office failure. Rise of Skywalker underperformed. Disney canceled all the future Star Wars plans after Solo bombed at the box office, and Rise of Skywalker underperformed at the box office. Okay, and this movie is bombing at the box office. No, it's not. It's not bombing. It's doing bad at the box office. Again, the international box office. This movie might have like a international release like No Time to Die has, but even then, people just don't care. People just do not care about Disney. I think that's the real truth of this. People don't want the people are getting sick and tired of Disney. Okay, especially after Disney has not had a single win besides the Sing Sea movie and Free Guy. Okay. And other than that, Disney has been doing abysmally at the box office. Disney has been doing abysmally and horribly at the box office. Disney movies and Disney owned movies have been doing abysmally at the box office. Okay. And that's probably why Disney did not release Luca and the Defeaters, because Disney was probably scared that the movie would bomb at the box office. Okay. Because they don't want to ruin Pixar. Okay. And Encanto should be a wake up call. And it's not be say, oh yeah, buy it on Disney Plus. No, it should be stop making movies that people don't want to see. Stop making movies that people don't care about. Again, this movie has good reviews, but people don't care because people are getting sick of the Disney company. Okay, people are getting sick of the Disney company. That's probably why there's all these leaks and rumors of all these changes that they want to make in the Disney company, because people are sick of this stuff, Disney. People are sick of this stuff, okay? And Santo isn't doing too well. Again, there is a pandemic, but this movie should be making around $50-60 million at the very least, okay? $50-60 million at the box office, not 40 million. Okay? Disney movies typically do around $50-60 million, the original ones. So yeah, Santo is doing horribly. It might have good legs, but next movie on the list is Ghostbusters Afterlife. And the movie still beat Ghostbusters 2016. So Ghostbusters 2016 is just a failure at this point. It is the Ghostbusters that everybody wants to ignore. Kind of like Planet of the Apes 2001. Everybody ignores Planet of the Apes 2001. Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is the true sequel to Ghostbusters 2, is doing far better than Ghostbusters 2016. It is likely going to pass Ghostbusters 2016, despite opening lower than Ghostbusters 2016. Teen did. Okay? And this movie restored faith from the Ghostbusters fandom into the series, so I expect this movie to continue having good ratings and to beat Ghostbusters 2016 at the box office. This movie is still currently ahead of Ghostbusters 2016 by 1.5 million at the box office, which was down from 2.3 million, but yeah, it's still beating Ghostbusters 2016. We don't know if it will beat Ghostbusters 2016, but yeah, it's still gonna probably still make a ton of money at the box office regardless. And you know, this movie's gonna probably be at Santo as well. Was it the most hilarious thing? Because Disney was doing everything to promote Enchanto like it was the greatest movie ever. And no one's watching. No one cares. And Disney's gonna, of course, blame racism for Enchanto's flop. For Enchanto underperforming. So, next movie on the list is... Okay. Numbers is House of Gucci. It's a original, or actually, I guess he goes by the Afterlife. Yeah, this is the international. It's not really, it's doing abysmally internationally. Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's doing abysmally internationally, but yeah. Next is House of Gucci. House of Gucci is doing pretty well at the box office. I don't know the budget for this movie, but if it's like a $40 million budget movie, this movie should easily make money. So this is extremely good for non-franchise movies. The last non-franchise movie that was successful was all the way back in the surprise box office hit that was Free Guy, okay, was, I think the reason why it's considered a surprise box office hit because it's a non-franchise movie. No one, every media was saying it was gonna flop because it looked stupid or blah blah blah, or people were not gonna see it because it wasn't a Marvel movie, or it wasn't a big franchise movie. I think this is the problem here. Okay, people, people do not really care for non-franchise movies. I don't know why. I just don't think people are willing to give them a chance. I think that's the problem here. Okay. People aren't really willing to give non-franchise movies a chance at the box office. And, I think people are fine, I think it's really how you market a movie, okay? It's gonna be much harder to sell a non-franchise movie than Ghostbusters Afterlife, okay? Okay. Which is so funny that it's true. This movie isn't really doing too well. And of course, House of Gucci, I think will probably make money at the end. Unless it's like a $100 million budget movie or something ridiculous like that. I actually gotta see the budget for this movie. House of Gucci, its budget is $75 million. Yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle. I just don't know why they spend so much money on movies now. Like, House of Gucci should be like a $40 million budget movie. But this movie, House of Gucci, that's still good. But that's actually gonna be an uphill battle. That means that this movie isn't really doing too well for a $35 million budget movie. But again, it might do well internationally. It might do well ratings-wise. There isn't really any major releases to Spider-Man No Way Home. And this movie could perform a Knives Out. Everybody remembers Knives Out. That movie was... No one was expecting it. There was another movie that no one was expecting to do well, but it made like $100 million or something like that. It might perform a Knives Out if people really like House of Gucci. And it had pretty decent ratings throughout the holiday weekend. So... It needs to make around the same money, or $130 million. I think Ghostbusters is very close to making the amount needed to make money. But again, the international box office isn't really there for that movie. Next is The Eternals. And The Eternals, yeah, we have to go on box office mode. Because again, the numbers is not going to update the international sales. Internationally, this movie is basically dead. Okay? This movie is basically dead internationally. Which is pretty hilarious. you know. And yeah, this movie isn't really doing too well. It's doing abysmally for a Marvel movie. This is abysmal numbers for a Marvel movie. And again, if you compare this to Black Widow, what the Phantom Menace would probably do, because that's all the Phantom Menace ever does is compare this to Black Widow and say, oh, but and pushing that narrative over and over and over again. But you can't really compare it to Black Widow, because guess what? Black Widow came out for a premium price on Disney Plus. The film came out for a premium price on Disney Plus, $40 Disney Plus premium. Okay, the Eternals did not. So the Eternals is gonna be stuck with whoever gets on theaters, which means this movie could be the first Marvel flop. Again, it is only $42 million away from $400 million, since this is a $200 million budget movie. And let's just be more fair, because it is Disney and Marvel, $420 million. This movie needs to make another $50 million to even not be out of the red. That's the scary part. Okay, the Eternals is still in the red. Okay, by a massive margin. And the movie made $150 million today, and I still not see this movie making money. Next is Resident Evil. Someone said this movie has a very tiny budget at the box office. Someone said this movie has a really small budget, and and we can go for the weekend box office here. And yeah, Resident Evil is at $13 million international, worldwide. This movie had like a $25 million budget. Someone told me it has this very small and really tiny budget of $25 million. Which, that's mean this movie needs to make $50 million still. It still only makes like $50 million basically. And it's based off like the actual game itself. And yeah, despite its poor reviews, this movie might still make money. And they'll probably get another pointless and, unnecessary Resident Evil movie, because that's how these movies are. Some of these movies did pretty horribly at the box office, and they still got sequels. I just don't understand how these movies get sequels. I just don't understand. Alita doesn't get a sequel, but we get another Resident Evil movie. It's funny how they said it's gonna be the final Resident Evil movie. 4 years where we get a new entry in the franchise. Okay, we get a new Resident Evil movie. It's just, why do we need another Resident Evil movie? It's just, that's the biggest question here. Okay, next is Clifford the Big Red Dog. Yep. They finally have an international tally for this movie. And I'm using box office exposure now because they're reporting international sales here. Clifford isn't really doing too well. It's actually performing well domestically, but it's not. But the problem is, no sales for international. This movie has a $16 million budget and there's no international sales. I think that's the big problem with Clifford. Okay, the big problem with this movie is its budget. They spent too much money on this movie, the Wake of House of Gucci, and it might lose money at the end. I don't know how much money it made on the Paramount streaming service, but it is basically doing a standard family movie, $20 million opening and of the year. It is still doing better than a lot of other movies, though. But it's a movie that no one asked for, a movie that nobody, said they wanted. No one wanted a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. So I don't know. This movie is still doing much better than I think anybody would have thought it did or have done. So next movie is King Richard, another box office failure. It's an Oscar movie. Basically, it's gonna be. They're saying it's up for the running for Oscars, but other than that, this movie's gonna become forgotten. Okay, no one's gonna be watching this, essentially, and it's doing abysmally at the box office. Next is Dune. So Dune. Okay, this movie is at $334 million worldwide. This movie is doing. Dune has done exceptional at the box office. I don't think it's gonna be Alita worldwide, because Alita had that massive, humongous growth from China. But Dune didn't really do well in China compared to Alita. And Dune is gonna do pretty well in America. It's doing pretty well in America. It did way better than Alita in America. And it had $232 million international sales. So that's Dune. Next is No Time to Die. This movie's at $758 million worldwide. The fact that this movie has made so much money is just so, made so much money internationally, but it didn't really do too well domestically. This movie, here, but even the Phantom Menace has even made this without quote unquote sales box office masters that even this movie is a success. So yeah, this here. So No Time to Die made $758 million worldwide. This movie, no matter what, is a success. So next is Venom Let There Be Carnage, which is doing pretty well. It actually beat every MCU movie. That's the hilarious thing. It beat every MCU movie released this year, except for Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's probably gonna be Spider-Man No Way Home is gonna probably be all Venom Let There Be Carnage. But the fact that so far, of course, we're not including Spider-Man No Way Home because Spider-Man No Way Home is not coming. It's not coming out until next month. But Venom Let There Be Carnage made $469 million worldwide, and that's a lot of money for a Marvel film, for a non-MCU movie. Okay, I think it's gonna stay the highest grossing non-MCU superhero movie, and I don't know if The Matrix counts as a superhero movie, but but it's gonna probably be the highest grossing non-MCU Marvel movie. And yep, that's basically about this video. Goodbye.